So how's it been in the world of that British guy for the past week?
Not too bad. Actually managed to get a video out before I thought I was going to, thankfully.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, a list video nonetheless. Only my second ever list video.
It's not common to your channel.
No, I don't like doing them too much, but it was because it was quite a longish video. I thought I'd better kind of chunk it up a bit. So rather than do a one of those top 10 list things that people do that take 10 minutes,
yeah,
I thought I'd expand because I just don't know when to shut up.
Yeah, they take a bit of planning sometimes.
Mm.
A lot more than you'd expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's on my watch later. I haven't got round to it yet because it's been quite a hectic few days with emergency equipment moving from one place to another. But that's
yeah, all right.
It's been a hectic week, as I'm sure you know. So, but yeah,
indeed, yeah, been a bit of a one.
Yeah, have you got one coming up to follow this coming week as well?
I will probably do another 1 or 2 gameplay videos, hopefully.
Okay.
Just to keep that kind of churning along. Just while I'm kind of in the downtime, as it were.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Foreseeable future. So yeah.
That's fair
You
enough.
had another dungeon and another gym leaders this week? Was that this week?
I think I was like tail end of last week to last weekend, so technically. Yeah, I have. What did I do? The last one I had was a everyone's top 10 liked.
Oh yes.
Where I watched the 36. I don't know why it's 36. It just 360 just sounded like a good good basis. Yeah, 36 people's top 10 favourites, and every time they mentioned it, put a vote on, and that was that one. Bit of research involved in that.
So basically the same sort of premise as the hated ones.
Yeah, I think that was about a week ago now, and I haven't actually had one out. I've got a couple of the shrine walkthroughs recorded, so all I need to do is just snip the beginning off, snip the end off, and just play that. So they're ready to go, basically. So I will probably upload a couple of those just so I've actually got some content going while I'm making something a bit more substantial.
Oh, okay. Even if you're not necessarily recording stuff this week, at least something will go out.
Yeah, just been as I'm sure you know, it's just been a busy week for various reasons on both sides, to be honest. But yeah, it's
indeed, yes.
Not a bad
and then we've
week,
got
just
this.
a busy week. Yes, which was scheduled, and yeah, the plans changed slightly.
Indeed, scheduled and rescheduled, but it's good.
We're back.
Indeed.
But yeah, no, so yeah. Not as much action as we'd both like on either of our stuff, but watch this space, I suppose. Yeah,
indeed. And we've still got to, at some point, come back together and do some Mario Kart.
Yeah, that is. I've got all that in this room, actually. Well, I say all that. I've got the Switch and the Wii versions of that in this room, so that's all ready to go, pretty much.
Cool. I think that's really just waiting on me getting an adapter for my SNES. Yeah. Still.
Yeah, no, it's I've got something here.
It will happen.
Yeah, it will happen, definitely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Because I lost the last time, so I've got I've got to come back.
You'll win this one, trust me.
I would hope so.
You will. Believe me, you will.
I'm going to research some shortcuts and have a look. But it should be good.
Indeed.
What's been crossing your mind over the past couple of weeks then? Anything you want to chat about?
Well, yeah, something that I was thinking about, and then it for all the wrong reasons really, has kind of hit the mainstream media, so it feels kind of like a good time to talk about it, even though it's not a particularly good thing to talk about, shall we say. Right. It kind of partially revolves around what's been going on to do with Saudi Arabia and Turkey.
Right, okay.
If you have been keeping your ear to the ground regarding the journalist that was allegedly killed in the consulate.
Oh, right, yeah.
It links into that.
Okay.
So, and this is where I needed to do a bit of date research just before we went live. It was basically regarding pay-per-view specials in Saudi Arabia.
Right. Okay.
Because many months ago, the WWE announced their show in Saudi Arabia called Greatest Royal Rumble that was held on the 27th of April. And obviously, with the laws being the way they are in Saudi Arabia, none of the women were able to compete over there. Okay. And there was a load of backlash from everyone. So a couple of months later, on the 23rd of July, so 3 months later, they announced a show called Evolution, and that was basically seen as a countermeasure to the earlier show. However, on the 6th of October this year, they announced a second show in Saudi Arabia called Crown Jewel, which coincidentally was around the same time that news broke out of the alleged death of the Saudi journalist.
Oh.
So obviously there's been quite a lot of backlash, A, because they've gone back over there to do a show seemingly just for millions and millions of dollars, and B, the kind of issues surrounding the country to do with how women are perceived, and the fact that they had to do a women's show just to counteract that last time. And also now with this death thrown on, or alleged death, shall we say, it's just kind of heaps the pressure on them somewhat. And it seems like they are stuck very much between a rock and a hard place, with half of the world calling them to cancel the show, and the other half sort of saying, well, if they did that, then there would be massive legal repercussions, because obviously this is a business deal that's set up months in advance. With kind of contracts in place on both sides, and you can't just walk away from something like that.
Yeah.
But then you have people like Richard Branson who have walked away from million or billion-dollar deals in the wake of what's been going on.
Yeah.
So.
And when Richard Branson's name is in there, that's it does sound very political.
Yes.
So was it? It was only probably about a year ago now, wasn't it? Where women were allowed to drive again. Well, I say again, probably at all for the first time.
Well, see, that was the thing with the Greatest Royal Rumble show. A lot of what was happening on commentary was putting over the country rather than the show itself and the performers and the storylines in the ring. It sounded almost like an advert for the country and for Jeddah, the city that it was held in, about how progressive they were and how modern things were over there, and the whole playing into kind of equal rights for women, which was really difficult to swallow when you had about, I think it was about 12 or 13 matches and there were no women in sight at all.
Yeah.
All the women in the arena that were allowed to watch the show had to get family tickets with men. They couldn't go in on their own.
Okay.
So it was all very kind of, very dodgy, shall we say.
Yeah. There was a lot of that at the World Cup recently, wasn't there, with Iran?
Mm.
But this was the first time, Iranians that were in Russia, the females and the women could just go and watch football as whenever they wanted.
Yes.
Which is not the commonplace in their own country.
Yeah. Yeah, so they kind of took the opportunity to go on their own although Russia's not exactly the most equal kind of country to be in, from what I understand of things anyway.
Yeah,
it's certainly kind of a lot more than certain other places, shall we say.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How's that for news outside of the ring?
Yeah, because that whole women being allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia was like the new, I think it was even possibly the new government, or at least the government's sort of big push to try and modernise the country and bring it into the modern age. It's
the Crown Prince, seemingly, Mohammed bin Salam, I think his name is.
Right.
And it's kind of his. I don't know whether it's his kind of belief or whether it's a policy based on kind of just trying to get the world's attention more so. But that
okay.
seems to be what he's trying to push on a wider platform, if you like, to do with how the world perceives the country.
Yeah.
Is that everything's all kind of modernised and westernised and equal opportunities for everything, but then they don't allow women to compete. Basically, the ruling behind it was women aren't allowed to compete in sports over there.
Okay.
So it wasn't purely from a wrestling standpoint, because there was a show about a year ago now that I can't remember the country, but it definitely wasn't Saudi Arabia for obvious reasons, but there were a couple of women performing in that, but they had to perform in like neck to feet bodysuits for their ring attire so that they weren't showing too much skin, which I guess is a bit of a step in the right direction. Yeah,
it's something.
Yeah, so they were at least allowed to kind of perform over there, because the thing that a lot of people had an issue with was because they weren't allowed to perform over there, they didn't earn any money.
Yeah.
So all the men got big paychecks from it because it was a very lucrative deal, and the women didn't see a penny of that.
Oh, okay.
And that was essentially why this women's show was created, so that they could get a payday from that.
Yeah.
And the men won't, because they're not involved.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's bad equality to the men. No, it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah, it's amazing the amount that has to go into even just sport. Even if it is just like the wrestling, for example, as well. It's amazing what has to go into it if you're going to be playing somewhere with a more political viewpoint, and how it can affect. It's just, you know, what is essentially just a bit of fun. Yeah. For people.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And
non-offensive fun, I would say, as well.
And I think that is sort of what people's issue with it was. Like, why go to these countries if they're going to be that restrictive? There's no, you don't have to perform wherever you don't want to perform. But obviously the powers that be that run the company managed to sign a multi-billion-dollar deal for a couple of shows a year.
Yeah.
From a business standpoint, of course you would. But on the flip side is obviously the kind of social impacts, the political impacts, how you're then perceived as a company in terms of your ideals and your morals and your views, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has it put the company into a good or a bad light, do you think? Do more people think it's progressive more than think it's a silly idea, or is it the other way round?
I think it's probably more the other way, which was why this women's show was introduced, just to kind of soften the blow. But the fact that they're now doing this second show out there with no view to a second women's show at any point, kind of shows that aspect. And to be honest, women's wrestling in the company has been pretty dire, apart from the last, say, 4, maybe 5 years. And again, that's just been a PR stunt. They've been pushing this whole kind of what they're calling a women's revolution, to basically push through that glass ceiling that essentially the company put there in the first place, because they were basically seen as a sideshow. And now, isn't it great that we're giving all these opportunities to women to kind of be seen on an equal playing field as the men? Aren't we so great that we're giving them that opportunity? But we were the ones that pushed them down for decades, and we're also the ones going to all these countries that they can't perform in.
So, yeah.
It's a bitter pill to swallow.
In their attempt to try and bring some form of... what's the word for it? I don't want to say equality, but some form of something. Some form of good something to it. They're actually sort of highlighting more bad and the bad they've done before. Yes. Yeah, so they have a tendency of slightly rewriting bits of their own history for the narrative that suits them.
And this is kind of one of those examples where they're they're showing the positivity, because it is a good thing, obviously, that they are now giving them a chance, but it's the kind of chance that they should have been given decades ago anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. It's well, at least they're doing something. They could have just not bothered.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
true. Very true.
I suppose. Because, it's... I think even in the modern world, not to broaden it to literally everything, but I think even in the modern world it's quite difficult to then try and start introducing equality and diversity after centuries of sort of white male dominance. I think anything is going to have some sort of... Because, I don't know, like Saudi Arabia government could now turn around and say, right, women are getting equal rights in everything. But there'll still be that portion of people that go, yeah, but you never did it before, so you're still bad. You've still got 1,000 years to go, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I guess so. It's I suppose a change needs to be made at some point. Otherwise, technically, we'd still be kind of slave traders and whatnot here. And that's not a highlight of the country's history, but at least it is part of the country's history rather than the country's present.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it, yeah. It's a step in the right direction. They just need to take a few more strides, I think.
Indeed,
by the sound of it.
Yes. That seems like a very good place to leave.
Yes, it can do.
Because it's a very hotly debated area.
Yeah. Which many podcasts can go on for about an hour and a half on that specific subject.
Indeed, yes. It's very easy to talk yourself around in circles and into a corner. So I'm hoping that what you've brought to the table is a little bit more light-hearted.
Well, yeah, I'd say so. It was more... Well, I'll start by saying I think I've seen the... is it a WWE game coming out soon? Or has come out?
2K19?
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
It should be out by now.
Oh, okay. Is that something... Are those games something you ever were interested in or have?
I have...
I know I've seen some gameplay of them, but I didn't know if that was a one-off series.
I have actually still got all of them.
Oh, okay.
Right from the original SmackDown game that was released on PlayStation 1. I don't own 2K19 yet. I've bought the last couple and been quite disappointed, so I'm kind of keeping this one at arm's length for the time being.
Yeah. Have you found that they haven't changed much and it's just more of the... Yeah.
Yes, it's very much let's take all the assets from last time, remodel things ever so slightly and re-release it. It seems from watching things online that this one has actually kind of moved forward a bit, but...
Okay.
Yeah. Still keeping it at arm's length for now.
Yeah, I think games like FIFA are very much the same at the moment, because I've played the past couple and they seem like it's just the same sort of game with minor tweaks and the squads are updated.
Yeah.
But there's 50 quid a go.
Yeah. Well, it's 50 quid a go, and then especially when we're talking about FIFA or really any other EA title, it's microtransactions.
Yes, of course. Which I've never done on FIFA. I've never done the whole... I don't even know how it works. I see people saying, in my pack I got Lionel Messi, and I think, I don't understand what you're talking about. Is it like Pokemon cards? You download an e-packet of cards or something and you get... Essentially,
yes, and you get certain players or certain kits or skills for your... Like it is, it's basically a dream team type thing on that game. But it's very much a case of spend real money to get points. You then use those points to buy, in inverted commas, decks of cards.
Yeah. And
most of the deck of cards is trash.
Okay. That sounds like something I'm not overly interested in. So it's I think FIFA is one of the games... I do have FIFA 18. I probably won't get 19 for a long time now. But if they introduce like cross-platform gaming for it, it may be something I'm slightly more interested in. Because there's not too many people on the Switch at the moment that have got FIFA. Right. Switch is definitely more Mario, Pokemon, sort of Zelda, very Nintendo-based, even though you can get other games on them.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not overly interested in online play... If they were ever to announce, cross-platform for FIFA, for PlayStation and other similar games, I might be more tempted for it. Like also like Rocket League, for example, as well.
Well, it's mainly Sony's fault.
Yeah, it is mainly Sony's fault.
It is mainly Sony's fault. Microsoft have been open completely with crossplay. Obviously, it's very easy for them to crossplay then on Steam.
Yes, definitely.
And Nintendo seem open to it. Sony recently have kind of said that it's something they're willing to look into and do.
Yeah.
But historically...
I think there was a certain game that triggered that, but I can't remember what that game was now. I don't think it was FIFA. I think it was... There was a certain game that triggered Sony to start to consider cross-platform gaming.
I believe it's Fortnite, according to the internet search that I've just done.
That was it. Oh, yes, that would sound right.
End of September that came about.
Yeah, another mini transaction game.
Essentially, yeah.
Microtransaction. That seems to be the way games are going now.
Well, annoyingly, that's the easy business model for companies because it's minimal effort, maximum money.
Yes.
Same as mobile gaming.
Yeah. Well, like Pokemon Go, for example, that's absolutely free to play, and then it's, right, you can buy whatever you want on here, it's up to you.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is, I think it's the way games are going now. It's the same with the Pokemon Quest they've got, which is essentially like the blocky characters type thing. You get 3 Pokemon and you go out and you like take on a group, and then take on the boss or whatever it is, and you can win.
Oh, okay. So it's essentially a gym structure.
Sort of, yeah. And then you can do that as many times as you want, and there's loads of little mini levels and all sorts. I'll do some gameplay of it soon, actually, because it's quite an interesting one. But that's completely free to play with microtransactions.
Oh, okay, yeah. So no free to play game is ever completely free to play.
Yeah,
because there will always be something locked behind a microtransaction. Guarantee it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Like the cross-platform gaming is something that I'd probably look into if it became a bit more prominent, but. Because they've got Switch Online has come out now, which is about £3.50 a month, which isn't bad.
Okay.
But I don't know now whether that means I can't play, say, I have a friend that's got, let's have a look, Mario Kart, for example. Mm. I don't know now if I can play online with him without having the online subscription service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. I'm assuming it should be. But I don't know. I'm probably going to get it anyway. It's only £3.50 a month, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I wouldn't, because there's a big difference between the PlayStation, seemingly the PlayStation equivalent of PlayStation Plus, which essentially is just some free games and extra deals on buying stuff online.
Yeah.
But it doesn't restrict you in terms of online play. Whereas I believe the Xbox Live service does. Like, you can't do online gameplay and things like that without being an Xbox Live subscriber.
Yeah. It's something I'm going to have to look into.
Mm.
Because it's always fun to, you and your other British friend take on 10 Japanese racers and finish 11th and 12th. And eventually
because they're all about 8 years old and do it all day.
Oh, they're incredible, yeah. They know exactly where to go. But yeah, something I'll probably subscribe to, actually, though. If it's only £3 a month, it's not the end of the world. And you do get benefits from that. You get latest offers, you get money off certain bits, and, there's benefits to it. They haven't said it yet, though, so I'm waiting until they give some sort of guidance as to what those benefits are.
Has that not been out ever since the Switch was released, then?
You could play online, but their Switch Online service has only came out in the past few weeks, I think. Maybe even start of the month.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's quite an early thing, though.
That's a bit... Because the console's been out about a year now, isn't it?
Yeah, over a year. I think last May, or even last February. Early 2017. Because I got mine in June and I've been saving up for a few months, so it must have been around early 2017.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, which is not going to compare to the PlayStation 5, which I'm going to call it, as a working title.
Oh, that's what it'll be called.
Oh,
Definitely.
of course it will.
They can't
Which,
not.
No, they can't not. Which is apparently the next gen gaming.
Yes.
Which, as I've probably said at the end of every generation of gaming, I don't know how you could get better than what we have. But I'm sure we'll find out. I'm hoping it's not going to be too VR based, because that's not something that really interests me much, to be honest.
I think it might be.
Yeah, well, I'll put it a different way. It interests me, but I wouldn't want it as the sole main source of my next generation gaming. I wouldn't want to be too what's the word? Immersion. Yeah, I don't want a high immersion. I'm happy with the controller and the screen and shooting at things and jumping on things and what have you.
I can't see them going solely down the VR route, because that would just close off so much of their market, especially with the success they saw with the PS4.
Definitely.
And yeah, Xbox wouldn't be able to do the same thing with the Xbox 2? Or is it the 361?
Xbox One 2.
Yeah, whatever they're going to call that.
Oh,
yeah, I just... that would close off far too much of the market for them.
Yeah, I think judging by sort of Xbox One and PS4, I think Sony are actually getting a good portion of the market. I think a lot of people have gone to PlayStation rather than Xbox in this generation. So I think they're trying to capitalise on their popularity at the moment and give this announcement. They haven't really said any other details apart from, hey, we're making the next console. Yeah,
which everybody kind of guessed anyway, because a lot of game studios have been given kind of the preview consoles.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if some people waited until the Switch was released to see how the popularity of the handheld, television screen console would work and if it would actually be popular. But from what I've seen, it's smashed it out the park, and people, I think it's sold millions and millions of copies. I think it's, what was it last time? 15 million units or so? I can't remember now.
What's that, of the Switch?
Yeah. Oh, bloody loads of units. What was it? I genuinely can't remember now.
20, almost 20 million.
Oh wow! Last time I checked, it was 15. So
yeah, worldwide,
it's popular.
Nearly 20 million.
And this is in its first 18 months.
That was something that was written in 2nd of August as well, so it's probably gone past the 20 million now, I would have thought.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah. So I think now that they've seen this success, I wouldn't be surprised if there's an element of that in one of the Xbox or PS games consoles. I'm not going to say that's going to be their selling point, because obviously someone's done that.
Well, if they can do that with the power of what they're going to put into the PS5, because I'm presuming, I haven't looked at the specs, but I'm presuming the Switch isn't as powerful as the PS4 or the Xbox One.
No, I don't think so, no.
No. But if they can get that ability from a console that's going to have the power that the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever the next one is going to be, if they can put that into it, then there's no reason why that won't sell. Because from the PS5, there's two things I want. One is basically for it to be a Switch.
Yeah.
Because Sony always try and make a handheld console and it always flops. So if they can work that into their main console, then great.
Yeah. I was going to say, because obviously the PSP and the PS Vita existed, and Xbox, Microsoft, whatever you want to call it, they themselves have not got a version of that. So I think, if anything, PS and Sony would go down that route out of the two of them.
Yes, very true.
Sorry.
At every single opportunity they get, they just keep getting wiped by Nintendo, don't they, in terms of handhelds?
Oh, yeah.
Like they cannot compete. So if they can work that in, that's one thing I'd like. The only other thing is backwards compatibility to at least the PS4. Ideally the PS3 as well, but I'll take PS4 backwards compatibility for the PS5.
Yeah.
That's all it really needs to do, because that's really the only thing that the PS4 doesn't do that I wish it did.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, to be honest. Something like the PS3 with the backwards compatibility for 2 and 1. But obviously, if it had compatibility for 1 till what we're going to call 5, that would be incredible. And I would be almost certain that I'd be buying one within the first week. Just, and getting every game I've ever owned, just, stacking them all up and being like, right, this is my console for everything.
Yeah.
But, like you say, at least PS4 backwards compatibility, I think, is almost essential, to be honest.
Ideally, yeah. I think they got lucky that didn't cause more of a backlash when the PS4 was released, because they had mentioned that it was going to be a possibility, or a likely possibility, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And they've never patched it back in, which I think really they probably could have done by now.
Yeah.
The amount of years it's been out.
I hope it gets there. We've got obviously Spider-Man recently and Red Dead 2 to come out in the next sort of couple of weeks.
Yep.
And games like that need to live on in the next generation of console.
Yeah, without having to buy a remaster of them for no reason.
Yeah.
Which I just refuse to do.
Yeah, that's it. Except for Spyro, I'll do it for that. That's it.
Fair enough.
I don't think I ever played Spyro myself. I just watched other people play it. But still.
Yeah, no, I never did. That one passed me by. But then I really like playing Crash Bandicoot on the PS1, and I still haven't got the remaster of that.
No, neither have I, actually.
I
played that one.
I'd be more tempted to just buy the original games again.
Yeah, that's why I go to stuff like the Comic-Con, which I'll be going to in a couple of, literally 2 weeks actually, because they just have tables and tables of hundreds of retro games, and it's, you're in your element when you see that. It's just,
that would
you
be
just
nice.
sort of turn to your party of people you with and be like, I'll see you in a bit. Just you
Pick
carry
me up
on.
in 4 hours.
Yeah, and then you turn down the next row, and there's another stall of hundreds of. Oh, it's great! It's really good.
Can we expect a vlog from that?
Yeah, I'm not a vlogging type, but I think I will be doing one, because it's not often you get to volunteer at a Comic-Con. I will be going to one and probably doing a vlog of that as well.
Cool.
But it might be a bit more of a tongue-in-cheek, having a laugh sort of thing, rather than informative. So it's just going to be a bit of fun. I'll have a laugh with it, and won't be heavily edited. It'll just be like, right, here's a clip, here's a clip, here's a clip.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun.
Cool.
It'll be a laugh, and that'll be in 2 weeks. So people should look out for that.
Sounds good.
But I've got to do some others before then, which I might even work on today.
Fair enough.
But I think for the time being, I'll have to go back to my lovely other half, who's sitting playing Tomb Raider at the moment in the other room. So.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So yes, I'll look out for your videos for the next week. And,
Indeed. Likewise.
Yeah. I'm going to try and do something that isn't too much work, I think, because that last one was just, for some reason, too much editing. I tried to make it too fancy, and I might just not do that for a couple of weeks.
Fair days.
Yeah. But yeah, until then, I shall see you around.
Yes. See you soon.
Lovely. See you soon.
Tatty bye.